Why the Seattle Seahawks could win the Super Bowl in 2019. Make sure to stay tuned to find out. What's up, everybody? It's JT Sports. I'm back to you guys with another video. In this video, I'm going to be talking about why the Seattle Seahawks can win the Super Bowl in 2019. Now, before I begin, make sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel. Also, share the video as well. Upload NFL videos, NFL content daily. Also, make sure to follow me on Instagram. The link to my Instagram is down below. It's JT Sports _. I'm going to be doing a giveaway when I get to 1,000 followers on there. I'm also going to be doing a giveaway on Twitter as well. When I get to 1,000 followers on Twitter, my Twitter is JT Sports _. The link to my Instagram and Twitter page will be down in the description and in the comment section down below. So I'm going to be talking about why the Seattle Seahawks can win the Super Bowl in 2019. The first thing we got to talk about is the coaching staff. Now, the coaching staff is really good. They lost a lot of talented players last season. And the majority of the NFL fan base, besides Seattle Seahawks fans, most of everybody, including me, thought the Seattle Seahawks were not going to make it to the playoffs last year. I thought they were going to end up going 6-10 and 7-9, and they ended up exceeding everybody's expectations. They made it to the playoffs. I don't know how they did it, but they did. It was incredible. They lost so many talented guys who helped them win the Super Bowl. They lost those guys. And plus, they had one of the worst offensive lines in football the previous season. And then they still found a way to make it to the playoffs this year. It's incredible. It's just a testament to how good of a coaching staff that they had this year. And I thought Pete Carroll did a phenomenal job with the Seattle Seahawks team. I thought this was one of his best coaching jobs that he has did in the last couple of seasons with this Seattle Seahawks team, just because of how much they lost. So for them to make it to the playoffs was incredible, and it's just a testament to how good of a coaching staff that Pete Carroll has around him. Then we got to look at Russell Wilson. Russell Wilson last season, 3,448 passing yards, 35 touchdowns, 7 interceptions, completed 65.6% of his passes. He was incredible last season. And I mean, of course, last season he was pretty good as well because the offensive line was actually able to hold blocks for once they were able to actually give Russell Wilson some solid protection. And then Russell Wilson actually had a running game last year. He wasn't the leading rusher last year. The previous season, he was the Seattle Seahawks leading rusher. Last season, they had a 1,000-yard rusher, and Chris Carson, who had 1,151 rushing yards, 9 touchdowns, was averaging 4.7 yards per carry. Then you have rookie Rashard Penny. He wasn't that bad neither. Had 419 rushing yards, 2 touchdowns, was averaging 4.9 yards per carry. So they have a pretty solid group at halfbacks as well. They also have guys like CJ Prosise, and also they have Travis Homer as well, who should give them some additional depth at that halfback position as well, guys who can contribute. So the offense, as long as they have Russell Wilson, they're always going to be competitive, and they're always going to win games. Now they have a solid offensive line. The offensive line is starting to come together. It's still not one of the best offensive lines in the NFL, but it was way better than what it has been the past previous seasons. Left tackle Dwayne Brown was graded by Pro Football Focus as the 5th best offensive tackle in the NFL with an 82.3 grade by Pro Football Focus. Mike Iupati was the 2nd best run blocking guard in the NFL last season. Center Justin Britt was the highest graded center in the NFC West. Right guard DJ Fluker was the 16th best pass blocking guard in the NFL last season. Right tackle Jermaine Afadi, he was okay. He wasn't bad, but he wasn't terrible neither. He was average. So the offensive line is okay. And with their offensive line improving last season, I expect their offensive line to take a big step this year in 2019, because you got to have a good offensive line if you want to win the Super Bowl. And I think the Seattle Seahawks offensive line this season is going to take a big step up in 2019, and they're going to be even better than what they were in 2018. And that's another reason why I think the Seattle Seahawks can compete for a Super Bowl this year and win the Super Bowl this year. So on the offensive side of the ball, when it comes to the halfback, the offensive line, they're solid there. And then you got quarterback Russell Wilson. Then we got to talk about the receivers, because I know that's a lot of things That's a big thing that people are going to be talking about. On the receiver position, they have wide receiver DK Metcalf, who they drafted in the second round of this year's draft. He's supposed to be the next Josh Gordon, the next Calvin Johnson. Now, normally when you have a young wide receiver, normally it takes rookie wide receivers a couple of weeks to get acclimated to the NFL, but normally some wide receivers around week 8, week 10 is when we start seeing these rookie wide receivers really start going off, really start putting up these monstrous kind of numbers. But I think DK Metcalf can start getting going early because him and Russell Wilson already have had a very solid connection this off season. They've been working out together as well, so they're going to have that connection down by the time week 1 the NFL season starts, in my opinion. And I think they're going to be a pretty good quarterback wide receiver duo. And then we can't forget about Tyler Lockett. Tyler Lockett is a guy who has improved every season. Season after season, Tyler Lockett has gotten even better. And this season could be another big season for Tyler Lockett, that he takes another big step in improving his game and potentially can ellipse 1,000 receiving yards this season. So Tyler Lockett is another guy who you can't overlook. They also have a couple more wide receivers that I'm very high on. You got Jerron Brown. You got Gary Jennings. I think a lot of people are really sleeping on Gary Jennings. I told everybody that Gary Jennings was better than wide receiver David Sills from West Virginia. A lot of people were calling me crazy. And what happened? Gary Jennings got drafted. And what happened to David Sills? He didn't get drafted at all. I told everybody I didn't buy the David Sills hype. I thought Gary Jennings was a better wide receiver prospect. So at the wide receiver position, I think the Seattle Seahawks, they might have a little bit of growing pains there, but I still think as long as you have quarterback Russell Wilson there who makes guys on the offensive side of the ball better, I think the receiving core, they might have their growing pains, they might have their ups and downs, but you don't have to have an elite wide receiver core to win the Super Bowl. You just have to have a solid group of wide receivers who are able to contribute and make plays to win Super Bowls. You don't have to have the best wide receiving group or best wide receiving duo in the NFL to win the Super Bowl. You just have to have a solid group of wide receivers who can get the job done. And I think this is what the Seattle Seahawks wide receiving group is going to be able to do. Then we got to go to the defense side of the ball. They got defensive end LJ Collier, who they drafted out of TCU. A lot of people thought he was a third rounder, second rounder, but they took him in the first rounder. Okay, I think he might end up being a very good defensive end. I think for his rookie season, I think he can end up having 5 to 6 sacks. So that's a bonus. Then they got Ziggy Ansah, former Detroit Lion. Now, Ziggy Ansah, he's what you call a hot cold player. Season to season, one season in 2017, he had 12 sacks. And then this season, he had 4 sacks. And then a couple of seasons back, he had like over 10 sacks. And then the season after that, he only had single-digit sacks. So he's a hot and cold player. His you don't really know what you're going to get out of him from season to season because he's not really consistent. One year he can give you double-digit sacks. The next year he's only giving you 4 sacks. So he's a player that varies. But this season, I think the Seattle Seahawks coaching staff is going to be able to get a lot more out of him this season than what the Detroit Lions were able to get out of him, just for the fact that the Seattle Seahawks have a way better coaching staff than the Detroit Lions. So if there's anybody who I think can get the most out of Ziggy Ansah, it's definitely this Seattle Seahawks coaching staff. They get the most out of all the players that they have on the roster, and that's the thing that I really like about the Seattle Seahawks. They get the most out of the guys that they have on the roster. They're not making any crazy blockbuster trades. They work with what they have, and they get the most out of those guys. That's one of the reasons why I always admired and respected the Seattle Seahawks organization over the last few seasons. Then we got to look at the linebacking position. I think they have one of the best linebacking groups in the NFL. You got Bobby Wagner, who is arguably the best middle linebacker in the NFL. Then you got Shaquem Griffin. Now, he struggled his rookie year, but coming into year 2, I think he will get better. I think he will have a better season than what he had his rookie year. I think he should be able to win that starting job this year for the Seattle Seahawks at that linebacker position, and I think he should be solid. And then you got KJ Wright as well. KJ Wright, when he's able to stay healthy, I think he's a pretty solid linebacker as well. When he's also able to stay healthy. So I think the Seattle Seahawks have a very solid group of linebackers there. Then we got to talk about the secondary. We got Shaquille Griffin, who is one of the best young cornerbacks in the NFL. He's not top 10 yet, but I think in a season or two, he will be there because Shaquille Griffin is really, really underrated. I think he's one of the most underrated cornerbacks in all of football. He's very solid. Then you got Brad McDougal. He's pretty solid as well. He was solid last season. Then we got Tedrick Thompson. He was pretty solid last year as well. So the Seattle Seahawks, they have a good coaching staff. They have a very solid defense. You got a very good quarterback in a guy like Russell Wilson. You have a running game, and you have a solid group of wide receivers. I think that this Seattle Seahawks team has all the tools, plus the coaching staff, to actually win the Super Bowl this year. And you might not look at it as Seattle Seahawks as the most talented team in the NFL, but the most talented team doesn't always win the Super Bowl. Like we saw this season, the LA Rams on paper were a way better team than the New England Patriots. But why did the New England Patriots win this year's Super Bowl? Because they were better coached and they do the little things well. So as long as you have a solid coaching staff, you're always going to be able to be in the running to win the Super Bowl. And that's why they have solid talent and they have a very good coaching staff. And this is why I think the Seattle Seahawks can win the Super Bowl in 2019. Let me know what you guys think about it down in the comment section down below. Make sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel for more NFL videos and content. And thanks for watching.